Come on. There we go. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Beyond the 90. Fantastic guest for you today. Big friends of the channel. Anton from, let me get this right, because you've recently rebranded West Ham Network. Again, all the
West
social
Ham
description.
Network, yeah.
First of all, mate, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you very much. Rebranding. We were just talking before we came on live, and yeah, rebranded the channel. And yeah, things are good. West Ham are so far, touch wood, have started where we left off from the season. So yeah, fingers crossed we can keep on going in that manner.
Yeah, and on that again, congratulations over Europe. But B, how's it feel to be the second best team in London now?
The second best team.
Behind Chelsea. I mean, come on.
No.
Unless you win the Champions League, you can't have that title.
Nah. We can't have that. Come on, Neil. We can't have that. Nah. We're numero uno. We're the most loyal fan base there in London, you know. And we've had to work hard to get where we would get to. We don't have all that money. We don't have all that money that Chelsea have had. So I think that lets us overtake the Chelsea scenario, to be honest. But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. You know, I know there's a lot of problems, and I know people outside of West Ham can see that there's a lot of issues at the club. And obviously, being a West Ham fan, we can talk about that as well. But you know what David Moyes has done at West Ham has just been phenomenal. Probably, you know, different story to Brendan Rodgers, but there's a similarity in what they're doing with the clubs, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
And yeah, so touch wood, we can continue it. That's the biggest thing for us this season is can we keep consistency and progress at that stage?
Yeah. Again, it's the thing that you were speaking about as well, when consistency is key. And it's the thing that basically I was saying on your channel last year when we lost 3-2, but it was the whole thing where I was like, I wish that both of us got into Champions League spots because that would have just caused chaos.
It would have, and I think
we've got Europa League, which I think is still an achievement. We were just speaking off camera again about that, and I'm really looking forward to that. And I know you are as well.
I'm buzzing, mate. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, we were one win away from the Champions League. What were you? The same, or a draw, even, or 1 point. So the fact of the matter is that, you know, for us personally, is to even be. I mean, the last time we were that close was 2016, the last season at Upton Park. We were within touch, and we actually ended the season with about 4 points away from the Champions League. But you can't help but feel slightly disappointed, especially as a West Ham fan. I think that maybe the difference is that you have won things recently. You know, you've won the FA Cup, you've won the Premier League, you've won. You know, you've got things to look back and the memories. And for us as West Ham fans, it's been so long. So the Champions League felt like that potential bit of trophy. And I'm not saying that, you know, because we didn't qualify. And you didn't qualify, that you didn't feel the same heartache. However, the heartache was changed because you went and won the FA Cup, and that helps, you know. And then you've gone and won the Charity Shield, and you know it's silverware and medals that only West Ham fans dream of, to be honest, especially in my era.
Yeah, and it's us, mine as well. I mean, supporting them, I know I could probably talk about this all the time on the channel, but it feels like two different clubs. The club in the Championship that I supported and League One, and now the owners are taking over. They've just took it to a new level, and it just doesn't feel like the same club. And it's mental, but just going back to Europe, obviously we're both in it. We'd love to see you, hopefully, both of us in the final, because that would be unbelievable.
Could you imagine?
It would be wherever, I don't even know wherever that is, but
I think it's in Seville, I think. I think the final's in Seville, so nice and warm.
Yeah, be nice. Nice day out. Well, it'll be a nice day out until one of us loses, if we both get to the final. But are you looking forward to it? Again, we'll just talk about Champions League. Obviously, it is a bit of a ground grade for us as well. We really wanted those Champions League spaces. Wasn't to be, but I mean, at the same time, it's probably you can look forward to it. And I know probably a lot of the Hammers are probably buzzing for a trip around Europe as well.
Absolutely. Well, I hope we're going to get trips around Europe, because I've been hearing kind of smuggers of people saying that they may potentially take away the away fans from traveling to Europe because of the COVID restrictions, which would be really disappointing, because, you know, we're expecting our third child and it comes at the end of November, and I've already negotiated with the wife that if I'm going to go to a game, it has to be in October, early October, or in and around that date. So I've got that part hook, line and sinkered, but The issue is, I'm buzzing. It's the first time we've qualified for the group stages of what you could know as the UEFA Cup / Europa League. And that's quite a surprising feat, really, as a West Ham fan, because we have finished reasonably high up in the table before in the past, but we've always had to go through qualifying rounds, and then we've got into the first round of what you then called back then UEFA Cup, but we never ever progressed past the second round at the time, and never ever got to any of the group stages. So we're buzzing at the fact we're going to get 4 or 5, is it 6 games? I don't know how many teams go into the league format.
Six into the group stages. So
it means you get kind of 5 or 6 games. I don't know how many games it is you get in total, but
1 home, 1 away. So 4 of them. Again, this is all new to me, mate. I was trying to figure it out as I went along.
Yeah.
4 teams. You play each of them twice. 1 at home, 1 away.
Yeah, so I mean, it's good to be able to get that, and I think West Ham just the other day followed Leicester's path in terms of offering them a package to buy the 3-game package thing. I seen Leicester done it, and I thought that's a great thing. And then West Ham have now done it as well, as of I think today or yesterday. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely, I want West Ham to be challenged. But there's differences between what Leicester are currently doing and what West Ham are currently doing, and that involves the transfer market and things like that.
Yeah, I mean, our fans have been complaining a little bit because every fan base always complain about transfers. You can spend the whole world. Probably PSG fans are still complaining with the amazing transfer window they had. Anyway, coming on to that, obviously with how you've strengthened, looking at the squad, obviously coming back to the Premier League, with who you played against Newcastle game, again, fantastic end-to-end football, loved it to watch. But also, looking at the bench, I was like, have you got the squad to try and compete in both Europe and Premier League and push for that? Because it doesn't really look like it.
Absolutely not. I was at the Newcastle game, fortunately. I actually took my 5-year-old son to his first ever West Ham game. So I chose an absolute belter of a game. But, every West Ham fan knows when you look at maybe 14 or 15 of our players, we've got what I would call a strong 14 or 15 players. But we can't hack maybe a couple of injuries because we don't have the strength and depth. However, there is a however. What David Moyes is doing at the club, he's changed my mindset dramatically. Even as a football fan, actually as a West Ham fan and as a football fan, I've gone my whole life from 37. I've gone for so many years thinking we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. Moyes comes in and he goes, we need to reduce the average age of the side, and we need to plan for the future and build upon what we've got. I'm not going to bring in quantity over quality. I've got to bring in quality over quantity, because we've been so used to in recent times bringing in players for 40 million, for 35 million, and we think tick, 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 and they don't work because they don't fit the system. So what Moyes is doing is going, it doesn't really matter about the value. I need to see if the player works. And if that player works, we'll bring that player in. So what Moyes has done by coming back to the club again is he's convincing the fans. If you think about Vladimir Sufal, £5 million from Sparta Prague, unheard of really in the Premier League. But the lad is borderline one of the best fullbacks in the league, especially after his performances of last season. And he takes no crap. He gets forward. He's £5 million. That's all he was. And, if West Ham were to put him in the transfer market now, I don't know, but you're definitely going to quadruple your money on a player that's going to assist goals, get forward, had a top-notch Euros, all that sort of stuff. So what Moyes does is he gets the best out of the bunch of players he's got, but he also works with players and changes their position. If you think of Antonio, for example.
Yes.
He's played right back, he's played centre back, he's played midfield. And now he is our number 9, which is a bit crazy. But he's just, if you look at the game against Newcastle, just before he scored that absolutely fantastic number 9 goal that anyone would be proud of, that if you looked at the highlights reels of Daka, who plays for you, it would have looked like Daka would have taken that shot and hit that shot in the back of the net. But 5 minutes before, missed the penalty and looked like he was walking around like a headless chicken. So the difference is Moyes can take players like Arnautovic and change them, and Antonio and change them, and do that with several players. So, we're weak in strength. However, I do think he's going to look in the market. I do think he's going to bring a couple of more players in, and I think that will add to what we've got and help.
Yeah, that's a good point actually as well. And I'm a big fan of Antonio as well. I think he's got a lot of. He's one of. I think West Ham in general are a team that's looked over in terms of the starting 11. You're looking at the likes of again Ben Rama, who I think will hit goals this season. Bowen, who was linked with us, and so same with Ben Rama. We didn't manage to get them. Went to you. Antonio, I think, has got pretty much the complete package as a striker goes as well. People like Cresswell, as you mentioned, Kufal, obviously Souček gets the credit and Rice gets the credit for being English good, but then Souček for getting the goals. Overall, I think you've got and Fabianski as well, and I think the keeper you recently signed as well from PSG, I think is fantastic.
Areola, yeah. I mean, see, to be honest with him, for example, like he's a future signing for West Ham. He's got the potential to come in and be the number one this season. Mm-hmm. But the deal we've got for him will conclude that he probably will become a West Ham player in the summer, and he will be West Ham's number one for the next 5 or 6 years. So even removing yourself from the fact that he was a PSG keeper, he was playing at Fulham last year, and his stats were unbelievable, and he was a fantastic really keeper. Good. And many clubs and fans were looking at him. We didn't even know we were linked to him, going, if there's a keeper I would like Areola, and we actually got the deal over the line. So it's a kind of, did we need a keeper this season? No, but we brought the keeper in, and I like that.
Future-proofing.
I like it. I like that way of thinking, except for I would like us to bring in more.
Yeah, and it's weird because I was kind of the same thing with Leicester last season. In terms of we had a team, but then it fell apart with injuries. But also it was just the amount of time that there was. But in terms of that, I think West Ham of recent, I say last year, you had 2 blinding games against and smashed basically both times. What are your thoughts, obviously, and because for you at the moment, this is the team that I'm genuinely. I was like, I'll take a draw for this one because I genuinely am scared up against going against you because you kind of know how to play against a team like Leicester. You will just go, right, we know how to play against you. We've done it twice before. We'll put 3 past you. So for this one, I'm genuinely happy to get a draw.
Yeah. I think, you know, if we go back to that game, the first game we played you last season where we beat you 3-0 at your home stadium, no West Ham fan expected that, and I don't really know if any Leicester fan expected it, to be honest. We spoke to a Leicester fan on our channel, and everyone was predicting big, reasonable size wins because we'd just come off 2 bad losses at the start of the season.
Moyes wasn't even there, was he? He had
corona. Oh yeah, he wasn't there. That's right. Yeah, it's right. Yeah, I forgot about that actually. Yeah, he wasn't there. So, but then what we witnessed at the game was West Ham stepping up to the plate. And the jokes then started by saying, well, maybe Moyes should stay away and whoever's coaching the team now should be the one. But it wasn't like that. He was coaching from the house. And I mean, I'm looking at the lineup that played against you guys in that particular game. And if I'm being brutally honest, there's only really 2 changes. No, but I think our lineup at the time, as a West Ham fan, we were thinking it wasn't strong. But there's only probably going to be 2 changes to that lineup for the game we're playing against you on Monday. And in actual fact, when you look at our lineup now, you think that's strong because that's what Moyes has done to that side. If you think about, you've mentioned players, but one player that goes under the radar every single week is Pablo Fornals. Pablo Fornals was brought in to be like a trickster of a player who had creativity, who could get forward, who could attack at defenses. But when he was brought in, he wasn't doing that. And he was kind of going missing in games. But Moyes has turned him into this apps. Moyes refuses to have a player in the team that doesn't work for the team. So he won't have a centre forward that just stays forward. He won't have a winger that will just stay forward. You have to track back and you have to work for that team. So if you think and you look at a player that West Ham are linked to and you think, oh, he's coming in. If you look at his history and he doesn't track back, the link is a fake link. It's not going to happen because Moyes is not going to look at that player. And he's turned Pablo Fornals into what I could describe as a modern day Gattuso. He was never that sort of player. He was never that sort of player. But what he can do, what Gattuso couldn't do, was he can spray the ball around and he can be a bit tricky and he can be clever with the ball. So him and players like him and Benrahma are sparking up a bit of a partnership and they're playing that little bit of a ticky-tacky football. And what we're doing as West Ham is we're not setting up with that big, apart from Antonio, who's the most unpredictable striker I've ever saw in the league. You'd have no idea what he's going to do. If he doesn't know what he's going to do, how our defence is going to know what he's going to do. You know, apart from I'm worried about his injury record. that's where you can start to see it. So that game against Leicester last year, that was the kickstart to our season. That was the game that got us going. And this year, we've obviously turned up. We've beat Newcastle United, and we were buzzing, but most of the fans have walked out and gone, but look what happened last season. We lost the first 2 games of the season, and we thought it was all doom and gloom. So we can't follow that routine of going, we've won the first game season, we're going to win the league. So we have to be realistic. We've got,
especially
60 games? Yeah.
And as you guys know, it's like, you win the first game, you go, okay, we'll take it as it comes. And even when you get that first game, you think, okay, that's a good step in the right direction. Can we continue this? Because I've had that same mentality with Leicester over the years, but it's been mental to see the rise. And I think Moyes, I think you guys will get there under Moyes. You've got that philosophy, because even the things you were saying about tracking back, that's something that Brendan Rodgers has said time and again, even to players like Maddison. Is like, if you can't run forward, don't run back. Like, so if you can't run back, don't run forwards. Like, and he goes, you have to track back. So it seems like they've got their philosophies, both Brendan Rodgers and David Moyes, to a T, and it's something that the fans can get behind. And which is, again, it seems quite similar to the fan bases.
Yeah, 100%. It does. It really does. I think the only real big difference right now is the fact that you've got what everyone would look at as probably the best owners in football. There's such a genuine interest and care that we see as outsiders looking in at your club, and my form of jealousy, to be honest, because you get from what you get looked after. I think we believe you all get looked after. You get a drink paid for you, you get a pie put on you, all that sort of stuff, and they throw buses on for you guys, and they invest in your training ground setup. And I think when you are talking to a player, if you put a player in the market and say West Ham and Leicester are after him, I said, taking away the fact that you've won the title recently in the FA Cup, if you take them to the training ground, the facilities are top notch, and a player's going to be like, I think I want to be around that more than I want to be around West Ham's put together training ground that we've got put together. There's absolutely no comparison at all. And the fact that our owners I don't want to turn into like a owner smashing guy, but
that was the next question. Actually.
Well, they don't. Yeah, but they don't engage with the fans. They don't give nothing to the fans. It's not about getting something for free. It's about giving us something. Feeling like you could go and speak to your owner and talk to him, and he would have a genuine chat. And you've had that from the moment that they originally took over. Now the son's obviously there, and he's carrying on the feat that his dad wanted to do. So it's amazing to watch as an outsider, but there's a lot of football fans that are like, I wish we had that. And
it's just mental. Again, our owners, this is the thing with our owners, we're so grateful for everything they do. But however, because a lot of Leicester fans, as you know, probably with the West Ham fans, have been down to the ground for years, and they've seen the team go through terrible football. And I remember going to the King Power Stadium before it was called King Power, watching them lose game after game after game, having a whole row to yourself. And it's just, the way I compare it is kind of, England fans, if you grew up and you're about 10, 11 years old, you've seen England in a semi-final of a World Cup and a final of a Euros. That's all you know. You've not seen the McLaren not even getting into the Euros. You've not seen the golden generation not succeeding. You've not seen awful football where they've played against each other. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of, as outside fans, how I see it. It's like, this not... With England, it's like you've only known success, so it brings a different dilemma. It brings a different generation, a different mentality to these new fans.
Yeah, 100%. I think it does. I totally agree with you. And but I mean, when you've got these guys that seem to genuinely care, it must reap through the team. It must reap through the staff.
That's our special.
And then it reaps through to the fans. And that's what, and there's that unity. It's like it's like the proper unity that people crave, absolutely crave. And you feel like nothing will break that right now. You literally don't feel like anything will break that. Yeah, okay, you may have disappointments on the field, but you feel like the fan base have got the back, and the owners have got the back. So even if you have a disaster of a season, it's not going to be all whatever, because you're in it all together to get there. So it's tough to watch from an outsider because you're desperate for that yourself. But it's nice. But it's nice to see.
I'm hoping that's the future, because that's the special X that keeps Leicester together and that keeps Leicester ticking over. All these little things they do, in my opinion, create bigger than the sum of its parts kind of thing. And that's what's made us kind of compete at that top level with players that don't really not deserve to be there. But same with West Ham. You get this player and you're thinking, okay, is he going to be James Justin? Perfect example. We got him in and we're like, okay. But then Brendan Rodgers has gone, right, we're going to play you in multiple positions, and we're going to take you to the next level, and he has done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's been amazing. But I just want to get in some of the comments as well. Ethan asks, evening Ethan, hope you're doing well, mate. What happened to the deal with the Fiorentina centre back that West Ham were going
Milenkovic? Yeah, well,
Yes.
Milenkovic, West Ham were heavily linked to him. It's probably the same with you guys, but we're linked to every player and their auntie and uncle and brother and sister and dad and mum and all that sort of stuff. But
it's
this one was
the case as well. It's really weird that this happens.
But I think you know, as a fan, you start to, and especially if a fan of when you do a channel and you've been doing it for so long, we start to dissect a lot of the links and we start to think, well, is this one a genuine one or not?
Exactly.
You look at the style of play, you look at his history, and you think, well, it makes sense. And then you start to meet people in the world of ITKs, and you start to get hints that maybe there is a genuine interest in this guy. And it was actually growing so many arms and legs, and it was getting a snowball effect, and it was actually going to happen. And suddenly something happened, and we heard that it was to do with the agent fees. We believe the agent fees asking for upwards of £7 million, which is potentially scuppering the deal completely. So it looks like it's not going to happen at all. Then you suddenly hear, you know, the bad news that Fofana, for you guys, took a really bad injury, a player that we were linked to as well. You got him through the line. And then the minute, you know, that happens, what happens is Brendan Rodgers goes out, sources another player, brings him in immediately. And so that's the kind of, again, I'm going back to like the difference in the clubs. Like, you know, West Ham have borderline only got probably two fully fit centre halves right now. One who's semi-fit, and we haven't gone out to look for a replacement. We need to bring in a centre half quick, really, really, really quick. But again, it's down to the fact that Moyes is saying, I'm not bringing in quantity over quality, but you guys are bringing in, is it Vestergaard you brought in from Southampton?
Yes. Vestergaard recently. And again, but they've scouted, sorry if my internet's playing up. It's scouted for about 2 years now, and they scout their players for like 2 years and then they get them in. So it's been a long process, but it looks like it's been less time up front. Yeah,
absolutely. So I know I sometimes digress and I go off in tangents. I can't even remember the original question yet. Milenkovic, we do need a centre half. There's no ifs and buts about it. When you look at the first half against Newcastle, we saw that our two centre halves are slow. However, I know you've got pacey guys up top, but what I do know is your pacey guys don't like big, solid, knocking you about sort of guys. And normally, you know, I never predict. I don't like to predict a West Ham loss. So last season I didn't do it. However, in my head, I thought probably, or in my heart, I probably thought, you know, we're probably going to get beat because all you're going to do is knock that ball over the top of our centre halves, and Vardy's going to get in behind and bang in the goals. But we nullified that threat, and I know you've got other players now, and I know you have progressed in that way. But the deal's fallen through, so we'll see what happens. We'll see who comes through next.
Fair enough. Again, apologies for the internet. I've tried my best. It is what it is at the moment. Richard, Ethan's but again got Kufa on the fancy team. Again, it's great to see. I've got a couple. I think I've got Bowen as well. I think Bowen's gonna have a great season personally.
Yeah, as well,
he's a real player as well. And again, just one thing as well. Jesse Lingard is a player that's been linked all over the place. I know at the moment, but I know he's a bit of a loss. But from what you were saying with Fornals and Ben Rama going to take that position, I mean, are you it's obviously disappointed to lose that player?
I don't know if you're still there, but if you are, I'll keep talking related on Lingard. I can't see you, so I'll just keep talking. With regards to Lingard, I genuinely think I can see you now. I can see you moving.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Don't worry. Lingard, I actually think will still come to West Ham before the deadline day finishes. So the way you build up the story is that, you know, Lingard was at West Ham. There was no obligation to buy. He got the best form of his life back again, and he was top notch. And he is contractually obliged to go back to Manchester United. He's a Manchester born and bred lad. He supports the club from his birth. So he's going to go back, and every West Ham fan needs to understand that he's going to go back and try and fight for his place. But it's looking likely that he's not going to get his place that he wants. He wants first team football. So we are seeing things and hearing things that this deal is literally going to happen. We think at the end of the transfer window, which is in 12 days, is it 12 or 13 days time, that we're pretty confident Lingard will be a West Ham player. The issue you've got is it looks like the valuation is the problem. And so his brother, Lingard's brother, is the agent, and he's been saying stuff and hinting at things and here, there, and everywhere, and it's all related to potentially pointing in the direction of Lingard coming back to West Ham. So I think it's now down to an agreement between the two clubs, and I think the valuation's potentially dropped down to £20 million. But let's be brutally honest, what Lingard brought to West Ham were already flying before Lingard. That was the thing. Mm-hmm. West Ham, if you look at the two sides that played Leicester last year, we beat you 3-0 at King Power Stadium without Lingard. And then when we had Lingard, we played and we won 3-2. But the point of the matter was we actually looked a lot better in the first game than we did in the second game with Lingard. But what I'm not absolutely no denying it, what Lingard brought to West Ham escalated things. It brought it up, it brought it forward, it brought us more attacking. It gave us more of an opportunity to progress forward because that's what he does. However, we've got Benrahma in the ranks, whom has been in the Championship. People were after him left, right, and centre. We got the deal over the line. He does look like he's a real deal, but he is going to be it's going to take time. And I think the game at Newcastle was exactly the game he needed. He had the best pre-season a player you could imagine would need. He came into Newcastle and he continued that form. And that's what we need, is players that can step into that role and do that. And he suits that number 10 role.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, obviously not great to hear in terms of that, but I know last year as well, you have one of the best home records as well. And I remember previewing the game where it was with a 3-2 that we eventually lost. Again, apologies for the incident. I really can't do anything about it at the moment. But with that and the 3-2 and the home form, are you expecting it to continue? Obviously, we've only get one game so far, but it's looking like it's going to continue this season, and that's only going to be a good thing. But it's going to. I still think it's going to be a tricky game against Leicester. Absolutely,
I don't doubt for a second the game is. I mean, I'm a half glass full West Ham fan rather than a half glass empty, so I'm always going to predict a positive result. That's just the nature that I come on. I feel superstitious if I say the opposite thing, so all that sort of stuff. But I try to dissect the game. Listen, this is going to be the first game where we're literally having nearly a capacity fans.
Yeah,
I'm unfortunately not going to the game. So even though I went to the Newcastle game, my first West Ham game will be Palace the following Saturday at home. So I'm looking forward to getting down to that. So it'll be interesting because some people have said, did West Ham benefit from not having fans in the stadium? Which is a harsh, but has some validity in it. If you think about the problems we were having on and off the park, which were a lot, and everyone everywhere knew it and seen it. So, but I think the fans will get in that stadium and will ramp it up more than, especially the fact it's an 8 o'clock kickoff on a Monday evening as well. That does play into the hands of potentially the home side, but absolutely no questions about it. Leicester, even though you could say West Ham are Leicester's bogey team, there's no ifs or buts about it. If Leicester don't get where they've got to, if they're not going to cause opposition problems. So you don't look at Leicester as West Ham don't look at Leicester like they're a team that will turn over because we usually do it. They actually look at Leicester and go, they're a serious threat. But if West Ham want to progress, we need to try and challenge.
Yeah.
And Moyes,
and it's the same thing with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
No, I was just going to say, I think Moyes has got that in him. The only thing I will say is we have to outscore the opposition because we will concede.
And we're looking like that a little bit at the moment. Obviously, we bought Vestergaard, and it has been. I mean, could have been even more goals for both sides in the last game. I mean, it could have been 4. I think it just had an offside goal ruled out. I think we missed a chance late on to make it 3-3. I think it will be a high-scoring game, which is great for a neutral, but it does put you on the edge of your seat as a fan. And you've had quite a lot of that this season. However, I think that's where I think we're both was potentially weak. Obviously, we've got potentially Vestergaard with about a week's training, and Dawson I think is a great defender, but he is getting on a bit now, and both of them can get caught on the turn. They make up for it in terms of their tackle, but I think that's where potentially you're looking at the likes of Antonio and Jamie Vardy or Daka, whoever plays, where they could get a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can see, Newcastle turned our 2 centre halves very easy in the first half. No ifs or buts about it, and it was just when West Ham clicked going forward, that's where our biggest threat was. And you mentioned players there. I mean, I'm looking at our lineup from the last game we played you, not the first game we played you last season, but the last game we played you. I mean, Fabianski, Soufal, they'll start. Creswell will start. Dawson, Diop, or Ogbonna. So one of them will probably start. Masuaku won't. Fornals will. Noble won't, because that will be Declan Rice will be stepping in, because we didn't play with Declan Rice, who is our best player by a million miles. He's phenomenal.
Oh, really?
He's outrageous. It's outrageous, the stuff him and what him and Thomas Souček do at West Ham is, honestly, mate. So Tommy Souček got 10 goals last season as a central defensive midfielder, and the reason he got 10 goals as a central defensive midfielder was because Rice was there behind him, letting him do what he needed to do, covering his back game in and game out. The ground he covers, the vision he's got is. I mean, we had one of our other guys as part of the channel come on when we done the preview the last time, and he made the valid point. He said the Leicester West Ham game will be won in the midfield. The midfield battle. This was the first game we played you last season, and the game was won in midfield because West Ham obviously won the game, and we won that midfield battle. I'm not denying remotely that you have absolutely fantastic players that would walk into many positions in our starting 11, but the two players that I think many teams in the whole Premier League would struggle to walk into would be the Souček and Rice. They are phenomenal. We call them potato salad and rice because Souček loves eating potato salad, and obviously Declan Rice has just got that name, so we just give them the nicknames. So yeah, top-notch guys, and they're just great at what they do. Cover so much ground, break up play, and allow the creativity up top to go. Jared Bowen, Pablo Fornals, Ben Rama, and the man himself, the unpredictability of Antonio.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's again, it's a great problem to have as well. With you, unpredictability is a weird one because we've had a few players like that over the years where it's like you don't know what's going to turn up. Both you could be slamming the ground, going, "Oh, we should have put that away," and kind of Harvey Barnes was a little bit like that, where you didn't know who's going to hit the goal in the back of the net, score a worldie, or just miss the goal entirely. He's kind of sorted that out now as well. And at the moment, there's some really good stuff happening, I think, with both teams, but. I think, yeah, apart from that, I'm really looking forward to the game. But this is probably the most nervous I've been for a game in quite a while, apart from the FA Cup, because I know how strong West Ham are, and they know how, as I said before, they know how to play against us. Yeah,
I think I agree. I feel the same way, though. I think every West Ham fan feels the same in every game we turn up to, because again, we turned up last season and performed against guys like yourselves. And Wolves, nobody expected Wolves to have the season they did, but we did. We turned up, we done that, we turned them over. And then we did start to compete with the top six and start to turn some of them over. But then you turn up against someone like Sheffield United, who were having a terrible season, and we couldn't get the deal over the line. In actual fact, the best probably example of that was we got beat twice by Newcastle last season. So in theory, our 6 points we gained from Leicester defeated the purpose because we lost them against Newcastle. And if we had turned one of those games over, we'd be in the Champions League this season. I know it doesn't work like that.
Way. We lost 4-2 to Newcastle, and I still have no idea how we lost that game. Absolutely no idea. Newcastle have a funny way, and I do like Geordies, but I just despise Newcastle for what their owners have done to the club and everything. However, they manage to find a way every year. Brucey Ball just manages to get. If we've fallen victim to it, you've fallen victim to it. It's just so annoying, but you just don't know how it happens.
Absolutely, mate. I agree with you.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Again, the internet is still having a mare at the moment. But thank you, Anton, for coming on. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And thank you so much for trying to carry the show while I've been a PowerPoint presentation at points. But I've left everybody's the links in the description to your channel and everything down below. But
cheers,
just for a quick plug, where can the people find you?
So we're on all the socials. We are now rebranded. So we're West Ham Network. So we're on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We are in the process of getting a website done up, and so just go and check us out if you do. We've got a preview of the game with yous on Sunday evening, and then we do what we call a match day live, which is the way of saying it's a watch along. So we go on about an hour before kickoff, and we're going to be jumping back and forth to the stadium because we've got loads of fans in the stadium and fans in the supporters club. So it's quite a cool setup, and hopefully we'll have you on that night as well, and talking to you about the reactions of the squad and the reaction of the players. We try and make it a bit of like a spectacle within reason, an amateur spectacle.
It'll be a spectacle to both of us because we know it's going to be fireworks within something.
Absolutely,
Because we had the COVID party, which is best just to be left alone in general. Because I remember I saw the comments on your channel when I was there. I was like, why are they mentioning these players? It's a shame about these players. And I just went, I don't know anything about that. Then the news broke and I just went, oh my God. But it was just a mess in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. That was the kind of, that one in particular was what really ruined Maddison's chances for going to England, wasn't it?
Yep, pretty much. Yep. He was probably the weakest out of the four, but four strong players. But when you're playing, again, as you guys know, with somebody like Rice, as good as he is, when they don't play for the top 6 teams, it makes it harder to try and get in the team. I know this team was a little bit, but just historically as well. So you need to do everything impossible to get your chances in that team, and he messed it up. But we'll have a go this season. And just before, again, thank you for joining. Just before we finish as well, I know people are talking about Nader Maduki. We mentioned him last week, so go back and watch our channel. We actually covered him about a week before the news even broke and the scouts are out at the moment. So go back and watch that one again. If you want to follow an awesome West Ham channel, the link is in the description for Anton's channel. But make sure you like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll see everybody in the next video. So
cheers. Thank you.